Well, hello there and welcome to this webinar. And in this webinar, we're going to go through the requirements and help you understand the units TAE Del 311 and TAE Del 414 and BSB CMM 411 make presentations, mentoring in the workplace and provide work skill instruction. And we're going to go through the training session requirements and walk you through how you can be best prepared for those there. So let's jump into it. So as always, we want to make sure our cover sheets are well filled out. So we've got our name, you can fill that in, candidate signature and date signed. So that's going to be the date that you officially start, so to speak there. Then we're going to come down, we're going to check out the next unit and do something very similar. We're going to drop in your name, start date, and you can leave the finish date till later. Naturally, once you are submitting your book, that'll be the finish date. So then we're going to come down and we've got, again, learner name, unit start date and finish date. All right. So we'll come down and we've got one more here, which is learner name, start date, and then finish date. All right. So we'll come down and if you would like to, you can spend some time reading through the performance evidence for each of the units that we've got listed here. So as you would know, everything that is done in the TAE is part of units of competency from the website training.gov.au there. And you can list, so you can read through the performance evidence there and get a sense of what is required of you there. All right. But it is also summarized and further instructions are provided here below. So as part of the experience or the assessment, you'll be required to deliver 3 training sessions or 3 work skill based instruction sessions or 3 mentoring sessions. And we've been able to combine those into 3 sessions there. So you'll be covering off the criteria for the 3 units there in those 3 sessions, which is super exciting. But we need to make sure that we cover off some of the critical items like workplace health and safety for those sessions before we get any further. So you can certainly take a read of Part A here, workplace health and safety, and read through the instructions here. But basically, it is requiring you to obtain a copy of the evacuation procedures for your proposed venue. All right. And if you have any trouble with that, speak to your RAM Training Services instructor or trainer, and they'll be able to support you with that. And then B, it says list 6 steps that you would mention to your learners audience to ensure safe evacuation in the case of an emergency. And you'll be doing that just below here. And you will also be filling out this classroom hazard and risk assessment checklist, right? So this could be filled out on the environment that you deliver the sessions in the workplace, or it could be filled out based on the training room that you actually do your sessions in as part of RAM Training Services. However, all of that, it's just logistical information, which you'll find out more about from RAM Training Services when you come to enrollment there. So you'll go through and tick the boxes and make sure you tick every single item there. Very, very important. All right. And if you're not sure about any of these items, feel free to just go with your best guess, so to speak. And if any of them are not relevant, you can put not applicable for sure. All right. So we'll come down and get that checklist done. We got a control measure, we got a risk, and just as a side note, I highly recommend that you do identify at least one risk and pop in one control measure. Always a good thing to do there. Shows best practice. All right. So trainer, so you're going to drop your name in there, signature, and then date. All right, so we're going to come down. Task 1, Part B, is attaching the copy of the evacuation procedure, but also listing out the 6 steps that you're going to mention to your learners for them to get themselves out of the building in the case of an emergency there. All right, so it could be things like stop work, stand up, move calmly, leave belongings behind, help people who can't walk, meet at designated area outside the building, those kind of details. All right. So then we're going to come down and says attach a copy of the evacuation procedures for your proposed venue, and certainly you can do that by taking a photograph of it. Maybe it's on the wall, maybe it's on the wall as you walk into the venue, or maybe it's kept on a HR file there. But basically, just what is the route to get out of the building. All right, so let's come down. Task 2 here, it says in task 2, you're required to develop 3 work skill instruction sessions, with each session being of at least 30 minutes duration and involving a different work skill for each session. All right. So the evidence you are to produce and demonstrate include organizing instruction and demonstration, conduct the instruction and demonstration, check training performance, and review training performance there. All right. And as part of that, you will have an attendance record, a learner feedback form, learner mentee needs analysis template, reflection evaluation, session plan template, and WHS risk assessment, complete above, and supporting documents, which will be on your USB or the RAM Training Services website. And those documents are listed there, which is great. All right. So we need to think about, all right, from your workplace, what are 3 skills that you could essentially teach someone to do within a 30-minute period there? So you may want to just take a moment, think about those things, and later we'll just take a look at a quick example, but anything that you would potentially mentor someone or train someone to do. So it could be using a piece of software. It could be using a piece of equipment. It could be dealing with customers. It could be the policy or procedure within your workplace, or it could be how to use a computer system. All right, whatever really comes to mind. But make sure it is a practical task or something that someone could definitely practice doing, so to speak. All right. Or maybe it's a coaching kind of conversation. All right. And maybe you need to inform them about, for example, drugs and alcohol awareness, or maybe, you know, acceptable behavior in certain situations, or professional conduct, or how to apply legislation in the workplace. All right. So there's quite a few different approaches that we can look at for building our sessions here. So we're going to come down. We've got task 2, which is plan the skill session, deliver the skill session, reflect on own practice, store and secure learner records here. So task 2, part A, plan workplace skill instruction. So we are going to take a look at that information. Then we're going to come down and we are going to take a look at the example that's been provided to us here. So we've got your name, which is Anne, the assessor, and then we've got date of plan preparation, that's in there. Mentee name, so that's the name of the person that's being mentored or trained. That's Jack Russell, and signature there. And description should include method of instruction and particular task, including equipment that the learner will complete or the learner will use, so to speak. That right. So then let's imagine that this person is learning to use a chainsaw. All right. So we could say, all right, in here, the use of a chainsaw will be taught to the mentee. All right. And we could also list any other pieces of equipment that may be required for using a chainsaw then. So then we're going to come down prior experience based on the input from the learner, any prior experience relevant to the work skill instruction. So it could be, yes, the mentee has picked up a chainsaw before and used it, in his home garden, but not in a professional capacity there. In this case, it's about setting up a printer. So it talks about relevant experience will be the use of a computer accessing internet. All right. So we got career goal, short term, long term. So in the case of a chainsaw, it could be, all right, long term goal is to become the chainsaw trainer for the SES or something like that. In here, we've got build on career pathways, progress through apprenticeship there. All right. Learner mentee job role requirements and duties. So include considerations of the age, cultural reference in terms of the cohort from current and active courses. Candidates ready to be assessed are presented with additional opportunities to identify and support needs. So maybe Bill Jones, who's learning to use a chainsaw, maybe he is currently doing a bit of landscaping in his current role. And he wants to progress to, as we said, chainsaw trainer, and maybe he's got a little bit of deficiency around reading and writing, and he struggles in that area there. Right. Just making these examples up here, folks. So contractual agreements. So in this case, we've ticked an apprenticeship. Okay. You could tick a traineeship or work probationary period there. What style of instruction does the learner mentee prefer? So you can certainly ask them how they like to be taught. And in this case, we've got auditory learner, visual learner, practical learner. And so you can actually ask them those questions there. Does the learner mentee have any concerns related to the use of equipment relevant to this instruction? So you may ask Bill or Bob, do you have any concerns around using the chainsaw there? And you might say, well, I'm a little bit unsure about how to start it, and I've got a sore hand because when I was in the army, this injury happened, whatever it may be. So you can certainly elaborate there, or certainly get your mentee to give you some great realistic information in there as well. Coming down, does the learner mentee have any specific learning needs related to completing this work skill instruction and the related task? So in here, we've got some great examples. We've got low digital literacy, we've got disability or medical concerns, cultural, social, or economic issues, access to technology, limitations in access to resources. So lots of different things that you could mention, or if there's nothing to mention, that's okay. You could certainly say nothing was identified there. All right. Time frames conducted over 1 month during induction. All right. So you can certainly, drop in 1 month, 2 months, 3 months. But just remember, you got 3 sessions to complete. So, the time frame in there, you could mention a comment in relation to that there. All right, mentee, mentor, mentee, meeting frequency. So you could drop in something similar to weekly during initial 12 months of apprenticeship there. Meeting method, face-to-face in the workplace. All right. So then we're going to come down, brief description of the workplace and industry. All right, so you can certainly explain the context of where the person might be working. And if you're doing it in your workplace or even in class, you can elaborate on this a little bit and extract that information from your mentee. Workplace health and safety considerations, you definitely want to drop that in there. Maybe with the chainsaw, it's using PPE. Maybe it's job safety analysis completed, take fives, all that fun stuff there. Control measures identified, so PPE for purpose, working at heights if required, all that there. All right, monitoring and review. So how will the mentee be supported in the workplace? And you can use some of the ideas that are presented there to address that there. Monitoring strategy, including feedback. So how will the mentee progress be monitored, and how will you ensure or the relationship is progressing as planned? Right, so in here we've got a bit of a supporting comment. Feedback is regularly considered in order to make improvements. Feedback is always reviewed and at least annually, and feedback would be gathered via an online survey or verbal feedback via an interview. Right? Evaluation strategy, how will the overall success of the mentoring be evaluated upon completion? And in this case, we've got certificate of attainment, induction, or apprenticeship completion, so to speak. Closure of mentorship. So transition, how will the mentee continue independently while maintaining a professional relationship with their mentor? So in here, we've got a bit of a supporting comment there that you can draw upon. So then we're going to come down, and this section here, we've got an example of an assessment session plan, so mentoring session plan or work skill instruction session plan filled out. All right. So in this case, we've got prepare to remove and replace wheel and tire assemblies. All right. This is very similar to another example that you may see in one of the other videos of the group presentation, but we are going to show you a sort of more mentoring style of session plan that you may come across here, right? So let's dive into it. So session length, 30 minutes, learning goals and demonstration objectives. So the work skill instruction includes prepare to remove and replace wheel and tire assemblies there. So let's come down, resources support material, so training room, computer, data projector, projector screen, all that stuff there. All right, supporting documents, access to physical support materials. All right, so then we're going to come down and delivery plan. And this is where we're going to drop in the topics that are going to be covered from the unit of competency there. All right, and a very simple, easy way to look at it and way to think about it. And in this case, it is all about changing the wheel and doing all the stuff related to the car. So we're going to come down. All right, and here we've got a very fleshed out session plan, which again is very similar to the other one that you will see in the group presentation style. All right, so then we're going to come down and we've got the first blank one there that you'll be able to start working on. All right, so just think about again 3 skills or 3 things that you would mentor someone on in your workplace from your workplace. All right. So we'll come down and that'll be filled out, and that is that template there. Um, all right, so I'm just going to come to the end of that. All right. Now, before we move any further, I am going to just bring up another example of a different topic that we can actually look at here, folks. So this one, we've got Drug and Alcohol Awareness 2017. Now, ignore the date there. But we've got work skill instruction title, Drug and Alcohol Awareness, right? Now, this has been taken from a situation or another company, and basically we just removed the name of the company there. But we've got facilitator names, it's going to be your name. Learning goals and demonstration objectives. Yep, demonstration objections or objectives, right? So we've got that listed out. The work skill instruction includes, and it's got a list of things there. And we've got venue, so XYZ company, training center there. All right. So we can come down, suitability and safety of the venue. All right. So that's listed out there, which is great. Resources, support materials, access to physical support materials, yes, training room equipment, relevant items, supporting documents, XYZ, fit for work policy, mining and quarrying safety and health regulations. All right. So we're going to come down and delivery plan. All right. So this is a mirror reflection of what's covered in the PowerPoint itself, right? And the PowerPoints have been built on these the performance criteria or the items that need to be covered from the unit of competency. All right. So hopefully you can see that with this delivery plan. So the key items that are going to be covered off. All right. Then we come down and we can see a little bit more detail included in there. So now let's come back to our session plan that we've been looking at here. So now we're going to come down and part A, email. Compose an email informing the learners of the date and time and location of the work skill instruction session that you're going to deliver. And this may be handwritten or compose an email on your computer and print and attach. All right. So in this case, we've got 2. All right, so name of the person from you. CC, you may put that in or you may not. Date and time, subject, and attachments. All right. So in here, we've got a bit of an example. So, dear student, you've been asked to attend work skill instruction training session with your workplace. This will be conducted on site on Monday. All right. Commencing time will be X. Please wear appropriate work wear and bring a pen and notepad with you. All right. So you are definitely going to craft that and make it contextual and make it appropriate to the scenario there. All right. And trainer, well, that's going to be your first name and last name there. All right, so part 2, email. We've got a template there for you to create the email and write that out. All right, shouldn't be too hard. All right, so next we have the attendance record. All right, so this is going to be where we record the attendance of the people that you are training there. Okay. So then we're going to come down and we have part B, deliver the work skill instruction. All right. So we've got the WHS covered off and sessions must be at least 30 minutes in duration. We've got learner feedback, resources, record the outcome of the assessment, self-reflection, session plan. All right. So let's jump down. So we got session 1, the session plan there. Going to come down. Cool. So very similar to what we've seen above. Reflective evaluation. All right. So what interpersonal interactions did you use in the session? Okay. So basically, you're going to go through each of these on the left-hand side and make some notes after you've delivered your session there. All right. Evaluation. What was good about the interactions? What was bad about the interactions? How did you feel when you had to change the interactions? How did you monitor change your interpersonal interactions when dealing with the class there or dealing with the mentee? All right. So coming down, analysis, conclusion, action plan. All right. Then we're going to come down, completed by your name, learner name, and date. We're going to come down, part two. So task two, part B, session one. You're going to go through, and this will be completed by the trainee, so to speak, by the trainee. So this will be a feedback form that is filled out by your trainee or your mentee. We're going to come down and we are going to, as it says here, insert copies of resources materials used for session one. So if you use PowerPoint, this is where you would print it off and attach it here. So we're going to come down and this will be filled out by your RAM Training Services assessor there. So coming down, this is also filled out by your RAM Training assessor. Okay. So then we're going to come down and we got session number two. Session number two, we got a blank form here for you to fill out for your second session there and going through and filling it out. That's going to be exactly the same as the first scenario there. So we got the reflective form here that you will fill out post your second session. And then we have the form that's filled out by your mentee. And then we come down and we have this checklist, which is filled out by your RAM Training assessor. And then we have the third session plan there that you'll be filling out. All right. So then we're going to come down to the very end, and I'll just do a very quick reminder that we want to make sure that we sign this section here and we date it. And if we don't do that, then we're going to end up getting our book sent back to us. So you do want to make sure that you sign it and date it there as well. All right. So in regards to the logistics for recording your session, where and how to do the session, that will be clarified for you and made clear by your RAM training assessor and upon enrollment and also in class, they will certainly explain these things for you as well. But the purpose of this webinar is just to go through the documents and just to give you a sense of what would go in each section and know that it's going to be contextualized to your environment and to the topic that you're talking on. So just think about 3 topics that you could train someone on, and potentially those topics will be extremely interactive, fun, and very practical in nature there. On that note, folks, thanks so much for watching the webinar. And if you've got any questions at all, feel free to reach out to your RAM training assessor and trainer. If not, throw questions via email or questions into the Facebook group there. On that note, thanks so much for watching, everyone, and we wish you the very best as you travel through your assessments.